Welcome to Celestial Bodies, a place to wonder in awe about the planets above. So let's see how the planets are dancing this week. We've got the Sun, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury and Uranus all dancing together in fascinating ways this week. But before we explore those, let's take a moment to talk about Virgo season. So Virgo is a sign that works with the energy of refinement and detail. It loves taking things apart and perfecting them. This is a sign of behind the scenes work, editing and constructive criticism. When the Sun is in Virgo, it shines a light on these qualities, bringing them into focus in both positive and challenging ways. During Virgo season, you might encounter these traits more often, whether it's in your work or your personal life. This week I have been reflecting on the dynamic between the critic and the artist. The critic is essential for growth and refinement, but when overactive, it can also sort of stifle and squash the creative process. Virgo's energy is similar in that way. It pushes us to improve. It's looking for refinement, it's looking for what's best. There's a purity to it, but it can also make us over-critical of ourselves. So navigating Virgo season with awareness can help us find that balance. So this week, one of the major aspects that we happen is the Sun in Virgo opposite to Saturn in Pisces. There's Pisces and there is Saturn. The Sun in Virgo, like I was saying, brings us to that kind of attention to that sort of detail-orientated work. And Saturn in Pisces, Saturn is the planet of discipline and sort of restriction. In Pisces, which is not probably the most, it's not Saturn's sort of home sign, because it's a sign connected to more emotionality and the spiritual realms. So this opposition, especially across this Virgo-Pisces axis, can be in some ways about sacrifice. Virgo sacrifices more in the material world with sort of hard work and being like a really good sort of helper energy, and Pisces is more in the spiritual world, in the realm of the mystical, in the realm of dreams. And so that axis might be active within you this week, but the energies of Saturn opposite the Sun may have you feeling like perhaps a surge of discipline to get things done, but also the sense maybe of your vitality being blocked somehow. This could come in the form of almost like I was describing earlier, like that kind of self-criticism or even self-doubt. It's good to understand that this aspect of kind of blocking the Sun's expression, Saturn opposing the Sun's sort of outward expression, can make our sense of ego feel a little bit sort of blocked or restricted. But in some sense it might bring more integrity to what it is that you're trying to sort of outwardly achieve with the Sun. And later in the week, I feel like as we get later into the week, there's a positive way in which this may also manifest. So later in the week we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, abundance, fertility, optimism and hope, coming into a square relationship with the Sun. So this square will go exact on September the 12th, and this is actually there is also simultaneously an ongoing square between Jupiter and Saturn, and so this is something that's kind of ongoing from now until about, I think the exact square is sometime in December. And so Jupiter in the sign of Gemini brings forth this this idea of an abundance of ideas and ways of seeing the truth, because Jupiter is like this and that, like lots of versatile and creative ways of seeing things. Square to the Sun, coming off of this opposition actually feels like a kind of way in which we dynamically, with a little bit of work, make the best use of whatever it was that this Sun-Saturn opposition was sort of bringing up. So as a way to use this energy as the Sun travels on in a way that's more growth-giving. But you know, the ongoing square to Saturn is this tension of restriction and growth, and where there might be a sort of sweet spot between expansion and control. And so that's where we are sort of like at the start of the week. And then the next thing I want to talk about is Mercury, the Mercury and Uranus, and Mercury moving into Libra. So I'll just move these away just now. Clearing the space to now talk about Mercury. So Mercury, the sign of our thoughts, intellect, communication, information, the way we think and the way we communicate, all of these things, you probably will know we had a Mercury retrograde, and during that Mercury retrograde, Mercury squared the planet Uranus 2 times. And what I'm going to talk about next is Mercury's going to square Uranus a 3rd time. Uranus, how do you say it? I flip between. My sons tell me that it's Uranus. So Mercury and Uranus, they've been going through quite a few squares, and this has been quite a dynamic meeting happening over the course of the retrograde, and now as Mercury's gone direct. And it's maybe brought about some maybe like original ideas and new ways of seeing things or thinking about things that you were once stuck about. And so we have this final square happening before Mercury moves into Libra. It feels like a sort of breakthrough moment, a flash of inspiration, and a sudden shift in how you've been thinking about something, or the arrival of an original new idea. And once Mercury moves into Virgo, a sign that it rules and is exalted in, that's a really happy Mercury. Okay, so that's a Mercury that will become more organised and efficient. So it's a fantastic time to harness mental clarity and use its productivity, especially when it's in Virgo from the 9th of September to the 26th. It's going to be a great time to get clear on maybe some of those breakthrough ideas that you've had and follow through with them. With, I think, the sort of the discipline of that like Saturn-Sun opposition that we've just spoken about, like we can use that kind of discipline and maybe even new sense of integrity within what we're doing as we go forward. So that's Mercury's movements this week. Nice. Mercury likes being in Virgo, so it's Mercury in really good shape next week. And then now we'll finally talk about the moon. So the moon will be moving through Sagittarius, Capricorn and Aquarius this week, and it's in its waxing phase, which means it is growing. The energy of the waxing phase is one of forward movement, it's active and hopeful. So on Monday we have the moon moving into optimistic Sagittarius, where it will actually also be opposite Jupiter in Gemini. And so that says to me it's a crescent moon phase and it's filled with a sense of urgency, but it will also maybe carry a sort of youthful naivety. It's time to act, but also maybe to be mindful about perhaps over-optimism with the Jupiter involvement. And then on Thursday, September 12th, the moon will move into Capricorn, more serious Capricorn. And transitioning through it will go from the first quarter into the waxing gibbous phase, which is great for co-collaboration and the building of momentum. The moon, when it's in Capricorn, will also meet up with Pluto while it's there, illuminating deeper themes related to power structures, authority, money. So you may want to be paying attention to revelations that might come up around sort of big governing bodies or systems as the moon moves through Capricorn. And then towards the weekend, the moon will finally move into the airy sign of Aquarius. This will happen on Saturday. It will be continuing to grow fuller, so the moon is continuing its growth phase, and it will, within the energy of Aquarius, this might bring a more broad, detached focus, encouraging us to sort of step back and see the big picture from more an eagle-eye view, with more energy towards innovation and breaking from old patterns. So that's the moon's movements this week. Now, keep in mind that this is the energy of the planets this week, but how these energies show up in your life will be unique based on your personal birth chart. And not all these planetary movements will play out exactly as I've described them. In some ways, even though I've just described the moon is growing in energy, if your own internal cycle is in the shedding and releasing, then it's possible that you'll feel very at odds with the cosmic weather, and that's like okay, really normal. But the beauty of astrology is understanding this energetic weather and then deciding if it's best time to go out and dance with it, or if it's better time to cozy up on the couch and allow it to just pass. So I hope this forecast helps you navigate the week's energies with more awareness. And if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below. Please let me know, how are you navigating this Virgo season energy? Are you noticing it show up? Is it affecting you? And maybe what mental breakthroughs are you having with the Mercury-Uranus? Or even how you're noticing that Saturn-Sun connection. I'd love to hear about it. It all adds to a broadening sort of way in which I and others can see how the astrology unfolds. Thank you. See you next week.